All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about a recurring theme that I keep seeing while covering Ashes of Creation, and that is the need for instance-based content. As you guys know, Ashes of Creation is not an instance-based game. It is a PvX environment where it's not PvE or PvP solely. You have different interactions at any point in time. And so the goal is to try and have a more interactive environment. And so this video, I wanted to talk about the need for instance-based, and I wanted to talk about that point of view, my thoughts on it, and that perspective as I see it. And then I wanted to explain why that is not a good idea for Ashes. And so, yeah, that's what this video is going to be. Let's dive into it. I totally understand this perspective. You see it all the time. I've seen it quite a bit. It even popped up on Nice Gaming and my podcast this last week, where people were asking about instance-based dungeons so that people could complete gear, because they feel like some dungeons will be really, really crowded with a lot of people. There will be a bunch of chaos and it'll be tough to get anything done. And yeah, that won't be good for the game. And what would be better for the game is if people could queue into dungeons with their groups, get their gear, and get out and move on with life. And so I get this perspective. I get this perspective because this is the way the Elder Scrolls Online is. You have instance-based dungeons. I know World of Warcraft, a lot of people have been talking about this. World of Warcraft also has this. And so you have the biggest MMO in history having this. And so you're going to have a lot of players that come from the biggest MMO to want similar things for a new game. And I get this perspective. I get you want that familiarity. I get that you want that comfort. But the inability to branch out and try new things is what has you doing missionary position for the rest of your life when you're married. And so every once in a while, you got to try new things. You got to branch out. You got to try something different. And yeah, you may feel like you're out on a limb at first, but who knows, you might come to like it. And so that's my perspective on things. I've already played games like this. I've already been on the roller coaster, the theme park style MMO, to where I go from point A to point B to point C. They release new content. Well, in order to complete the new content, I need to get the new gear that's 5% better, or it has some sort of mechanic that works perfectly for the new content that I'm trying to complete. Does this sound familiar for your game? You then, once you're done grinding that gear, spending 10, 20, 30, 40 hours, depending on the RNG that you have, you can then go complete the content. And now you want to get the trial skins, you want to get all the titles, potentially mounts, if your game provides mounts as in-game content, these sorts of things. If they don't, then, well, I mean, lucky you, right? You can just pay for them in the cash shop.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
So these sorts of things exist in these games, and it becomes this monotony of grinding gear, completing content, playing the content so much you get burnt out, and then you take a break until the next content comes out. And you're just on this hamster wheel. You're on this hamster wheel of quarter 1 to quarter 2 to quarter 3 to quarter 4, and then you rinse and repeat all over again. And so like I said, I get the familiarity. I totally understand the familiarity. I don't think that's going to work for Ashes. And I want to explain this, give you guys an open mind to where, you might want to branch out and try something different. And so what Ashes is attempting to do is not like other games. They're attempting to do a full sandbox style MMO and keep as much interaction with the players as possible. And so you see a lot of fears from players in the same way with respect to griefing, with respect to gank. Player interactions are important. Ashes has all sorts of systems that exist in the game. They have the node system, they have caravans, they have open sea PvP, they have node wars, they have guild v guild battles. You can do all sorts of different interactions. They also have the corruption system. And so these systems being valuable and important are going to play a huge, I know, I am just breaking molds by saying this. How these systems are employed is going to make or break whether or not this game is good. If the corruption system does not provide enough risk for gankers, they will gank freely and openly in the community, and yes, it will become a gank game. If the system is dialed correctly, to a point to where you're providing enough risk to where it will hinder a lot of that from happening. If you also, as a gaming development company, has come out and said, hey, if you're actively going after and harassing one person over and over again, that goes against our terms of service, you will be banned for it. Like Steven Sharif has said, that is also actively combating against these sorts of things. So it really does depend on how these things are deployed, but I think that's their goal, and I think they're serious when they're saying that. The other thing is player interactions will be vital if they make a scarcity. They will be if resources are scarce. Like, let's say you want to build up your node and you want to farm the new dungeons in the area and get better gear and progress just like everybody else in every other MMO ever. You're going to have to go out and get resources. And Steven has already said that the resources you will need will not exist in the exact same spot for the map. You won't be able to just like walk around closely and farm everything close nearby. Sometimes you'll have to trade or barter with other nodes on this map that is 17 times the size of New World's map. That is a massive freaking map. That is so much travel to bounce back and forth. And so in order to collect some of these resources to advance your city or your node, it's going to take a while. And you're going to have to open up trade lines. You're going to have to communicate with other players in order to get these things to happen so that your community can progress. Or you can just say, screw it. Well, I'm not going to open up communications. I'm just going to go take what I want. And if you're a warring style node, that's what you can do. You can go out and take it. Well, you're going to piss off a group of people. And you're going to piss off another group of people. And you're going to piss off another group of people because you're going to constantly be taking. Well, you make enough enemies, they're going to want to fight back and they're going to want to tear down your node.
What do you think, Your Grace? Can we not expect to dispose of these heathens quite easily?
And so if you provide this scarcity to resources, it makes the caravan system defending and attacking it valuable. If you make that valuable, those interactions in employing people to defend or employing people to attack these caravans will also be valuable. The emotion that will come from people losing valuable resources or gaining valuable resources will create friction in the environment. It'll create drama-driven content in Ashes of Creation. And these sorts of things, all these things that I have brought up, it has nothing to do with new dungeons. It has nothing to do with new world bosses or new gear or anything like that. All of this type of content, if done well, will revolve around the players. And progress in this game will not always be linear. Sometimes you'll be advancing, you'll have your freehold, right? And you're trying to advance your freehold to where you get your blacksmithing up. Well, all of a sudden, mid-blacksmithing upgrades, your node is attacked. Well, if you lose the node, you lose your freehold, and then you lose your ability to advance your blacksmithing. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to defend your freehold. You're going to partake in the node war. You're going to do what you can to protect what you've been working on. And if you lose it, it doesn't mean it's over. You could take it back. And so if you lose your freehold, you're going to have to go about working towards getting it back. Maybe you move into a new area and you go, you know what, we're going to be a little bit quieter of a node this time. This node hasn't been revealed yet, so we're going to develop over here. Or you say, okay, we lost this. It was close. We're going to get it back the next time a node war opens up. We're going to build up for this, and we're going to get all of our stuff back. All these types of interactions are just player-driven things. And so my point is sandbox MMO, if employed properly, if these systems are valuable and if they're providing the amount of detail and care that they require, if they're done well, you will not be taking breaks from Ashes of Creation waiting for new content, because the players will create the content. The players will generate the fun. The player interactions, good or bad, will drive a lot of the gameplay in this game. And so I do understand how people want to get to endgame as quickly as possible. I understand that. I understand that you want to go and move on and play a new and get your gear and have this content and do these things, because this is what you've been doing. You've been in Missionary for the last 10 years playing MMOs. I totally understand this. And I totally understand how, if you get together with a new significant loved one of yours, you're going to want to do the exact same thing because it's what you're comfortable with. It's your, you know, it's your comfort zone. But at the same time, if you were happy with that game, why are you looking at new games to begin with? Maybe a new game with a new type of environment is exactly what you need. That's my perspective. So yeah, I'm going to end this video here. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. Hopefully I did my best to explain my perspective on this, but yeah, with the amount of detail that Ashes is putting into these systems, as long as they are tweaking these systems through alpha and both betas, I could see this game being very successful. Yes, it is very elaborate, and yes, games have had similar systems like this fail in the past due to a lack of attention to detail and not honing in on these systems. Steven has made it very clear that that's not what they want to do, and so yeah, we'll have to wait and see if that's true or not, of course. But I have high expectations that they will deliver on these things. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.